This is our automatic self-cooling project, attempt number 2. My name is Carlos Rivas.
I'm Kobe Blossom.
I'm Sean.
I'm Chris Picard.
And this is our FSE 100 project. Started off, project definition and requirements. This is where we'll be talking about our project statement, customer and end users, brief customers, specific designs and requirements that we need to include, and the cost and value of our project. Project statement. Honestly, it's going to be a cheaper way of cooling off, and our project statement, we need to have the fan, our product, to follow the end user, and it should be able to track them. Our customers and end users are people who live in hot places, typically Arizona, people who want to stay cool but can't really afford it, and people who move constantly around the desk.
So basically, to sum up our customers, what they want something that's cheaper than air conditioning, especially in Phoenix, like summers when it's 117 degrees plus. It's got to be small, sleek, so people don't bump into it when they're walking around and it doesn't interfere with their day-to-day life. And going off the sleek design, it's got to be small. That way, it's not getting in the way of anybody. So our design criteria, basically, it's got to be cheap because it's got to be cheap in air conditioning, so we're trying to replace that. It's got to be maneuverable because if it's in your home and you're working, you definitely don't want it to get in the way of whatever you're doing. It's got to be able to cool you off, especially like almost as effective as air conditioning, considering that's what it's replacing. And it's got to cover a decent area, and that's why we designed it the way we did. So for our interactive matrix, we basically looked through all of our designs and rated what was most important, and this is basically what our summary of that. So, and then our different designs were all considered. They were all pretty good, but after we came up with the end of it, we decided to go with Chris's design because it was the most compact and easiest to put together, and we used the decision matrix in order to choose the best among all 4 of us.
So this was my idea. It was pretty simple. I just had a box fan on top of a moving base, and it would just blow the user.
This is my design. I just had a moving platform, and the fan used to turn 360 degrees, and you have to be in front of the sensor. If you're out of range, it will stop blowing.
So this was my design. It had an adjustable height thing so that you could put it at different heights in case you were standing up. That way you would constantly be able to have it blowing on your face if that's what you needed. It also had a wheel on the back that would allow it to turn 360 degrees without a steering mechanism. We just would have to have different axles. That's why there's 2 motors right here. And then this fan on the top would have a sensor so it knows where the person is.
And mine is a very rough sketch considering I have a cast, can't draw very well, but it's basically the same design as Chris's, kind of like on a nightstand almost. Like that's kind of what we went for the base, on 4 wheels, and it can alter. Pretty much it can turn every way, and then we just have a fan on top that can track the person.
So our decision matrix was how we chose the final design. We used the criteria, and then we based them on how big of a criteria they were, and then we rated each of the 4 designs. So these were our description of the proposed designs and our estimated budget and materials list. So this was our final one. We used Chris's, and this was a more specific one, but we just wanted the height that it gave and the maneuverability that it gave.
So the important things about this project were that it must have adjustable height and it must follow the person. So if you were going to move around, we wanted the fan to be able to follow you. That way you wouldn't have to keep moving it. And then we wanted the fan to be able to turn 360 degrees in order to find the person. That way it could find you at any angle. So this is our estimated budget and materials list. We tried to gather all the different things that we needed so we could calculate our final price.
Our justification proposed design. Our customers wanted high mobility because it has to be, they have clutter in their desk, it has to be able to move through that mess. As we also adjusted the height so we can have extra range to find its person. And the base rotates towards you, so that's an advantage of finding its target. And last but not least, our main objective is air conditioning, but it's cheaper, so it's going to be a great alternative. This is our project schedule plan. So basically, to collect our materials, assemble the frame, program functions, and test and finalize. So this is our planned out sketch of it.
So in conclusion, we wanted to make a fan that would follow you wherever you go in your room. And then it was built for anyone in a hot climate. So we thought of this because we live in Arizona and everyone gets hot here and it's a big problem we face. We also wanted it to be a cheaper alternative to AC because as we know, AC can be very expensive. So we wanted to be able to develop something that's a lot cheaper that more people can afford. And we wanted it to also keep you cool wherever you are in the room. Like I said earlier, follow you around to make sure you're always cool.
And that's about it.
Any questions?
No? All right.